Once upon a time, there was a very pretty lady.
Just a minute, my lady. I thought this was a modern fairy tale.
Well, who are you? And what are you doing in my fairy tale?
I'm the voice of the grain of truth.
Oh, all right. We'll make it a modern fairy tale. Just the other day, there was a pretty lady who was courted by two musicians. They played love songs beneath her window to win her heart. But she said she could never be happy with a man who only made ordinary music. She would give her heart to the man who came up with a new sound. So the two musicians went away to seek a new sound. They both thought and thought about how to create a new sound. Then one of them had an idea. He got some electronic equipment and took it home. There he made an electronic box with two rods poking out of it. When he turned it on, the box generated a tone. When he moved his hands near the rods, the sound changed. He could play a tune on it.
This is the grain of truth speaking. There really is an instrument like that. It was invented around 1920 by a man named Professor Leon Theremin. It's called the theremin. Here's how it sounds. Moving a hand near one rod changes the sound. Moving a hand near the other rod makes the sound louder or softer. Theremin music has been used for stage presentations, and there have even been live theremin concerts. Theremin music has also been used in motion pictures, including Spellbound, which won an Academy Award for musical scoring.
Meanwhile, the other musician took a steel guitar string and stretched it over a sort of microphone, something we call a pickup. Using the pickup, an amplifier, and a loudspeaker. He plucked the string and produced a whole new sound.
To explain it simply, when the string vibrated, impulses were produced within the pickup. These impulses were made stronger by the amplifier, and the result was heard from the loudspeaker.
All he had to do was add 5 more strings, some metal gimmicks for sliding and plucking, put on a colorful shirt, and he had a Hawaiian guitar. The two musicians again called upon the pretty lady. They played their hearts out. And they also blew some fuses. She was very much impressed. So they went away to try again another day. Meanwhile, the lady got her house rewired for more electrical power. In spite of his rejection by the pretty lady, the Hawaiian guitar man was so pleased with his sounds that he began experimenting with every instrument he could find. Guitars, violins, basses, pianos, saxophones, trumpets, flutes. Amplifying the sounds.
It's true, you know. Today, almost every musical instrument can be modified with electronic devices. Stringed instruments can use pickups similar to those used on the Hawaiian guitar. Other instruments can use contact microphones or air microphones to pick up the instrument's sounds. And a variety of amplifiers and loudspeakers can be used with these.
Meanwhile, his rival tried a different approach. He bought a couple of recorders and a microphone. He went out and recorded just about every sound he heard around him. Bird calls, the wind in the trees, the splash of water, man-made sounds, traffic sounds, the sounds of the city. He took all these recordings home with him and began to do things. Some he played slow down. Some he played speeded up. Some he played forward. Some he played backward. First he joined them all together and played them in order. Then he cut them apart and put small pieces of them together in a number of different orders. He used pieces of them musically, as if they were musical notes. He began to think he had something.
He certainly did have something. He had what is called musique concrète. Serious composers have been working with it for the past 25 years or so.
Back to the pretty lady they went. Back to the sounding board they went. Meanwhile, more electrical power. The second musician now took his amplified instruments and this time began to make strange sounds with them.
That's right. Amplifiers and their related equipment can do more than just make sounds louder. They can change them in many ways, into some of the sounds heard in current music, from the festival to the concert hall. Some of the ways in which amplifiers and related equipment allow musicians to alter sounds produced by instruments are filtering, which eliminates or reduces part of the sound. Boosting, or making some parts of the sound louder than others. Reverberation, or reverb, which continues or extends the sound, much like an echo. Tremolo, a vibrating type of effect. Feedback, which is similar to what often happens in a public address system. Overdriving the amplifier by sending more through it than it can handle. Distortion, such as fuzz and other effects. These sounds can be controlled so that they become musical sounds and give the musician a greater variety of possibilities.
All of this gave the first musician an idea. Why, he thought, couldn't I build a machine which generates the sound as well as amplifying and changing it? I'll invent a machine that produces synthetic sound. I'll call it a sound synthesizer.
Real modern-day sound synthesizers actually do that. They generate their own sound, but the keyboard is utilized to activate the electronic equipment. Rather than striking anything, such as the string of a piano or the bar of a xylophone. Sounds can be sustained, duplicated, or changed at will. Some human limitations do not have to be considered, such as pausing for breath, or running out of bow. And indefinitely, with the sound synthesizer, the composer can control every element of the performance. By recording each part independently of the others on the same piece of tape, which is called multi-tracking, the composer can hear the work performed without assembling a large group of musicians.
And meanwhile, back at the fairy tale, the two musicians brought their newest inventions to the pretty lady's house and plugged them in. The first musician had the latest model synthesizer. The second had his guitar and his latest amplifier with all sorts of electronic devices. They played their hearts out. But when they were finished, there was no applause, no cheers. In fact, there was no pretty lady. It seems she had run off with the electrician.
Oh, well, that's the way the transistor bounces.